Welcome. Today is Saturday, February the 15th, 2025. Today I'm going to head back over to the George Ranch. I did a tour a couple of weeks ago. I'll put the video in the description below, but I didn't get to finish it. There was one more house that I wanted to tour, which was the house of Mamie and Albert George, who the George Ranch is named after. So join me, if you will, as I head back to the ranch. Will you? Made it back to the George Ranch. I believe the admission was $16 the last time I was here, so I'll go inside and get my wristband. Got my wristband on, ready to go. Alright, so the last time I was here, I didn't know who any of these people were. So since I took the tour, it shed some light on everything. So Mary Polly Ryan lived on this land, and her house burned down, and she went to live with her daughter, Susan Elizabeth Davis, who had 3 children, Daisy, Mamie, and Bud. Now, Susan died at 29, and her daughter Daisy died at an early age. So there was Bud and Mamie. Mamie grew up and married Albert George, who the George Ranch is named after. So the George Ranch is open today from 9 to 5, and the tours are every 30 minutes. I'm going to go and take a tour of Mamie and Albert George's house. So the last time I was here, I started to the left. It goes all the way around. I visited the cabin, Mary Polly Ryan's house, and the mansion that's way over there that her daughter lived in, Susan Elizabeth Davis, and visited with the blacksmith. But the one house at the end of the tour I didn't have time for, I had to leave, that I want to visit now is, of course, like I said, Mamie and Albert George's house. So I'm going to go check that out right now. So like I said, I believe the tours are every 30 minutes. It is currently it's almost 2:50 right now. 10 minutes till 3, so I should make it just in time. Stopping by to look at the horse. Do not feed or pet the horses. Yeah, a bit of an overcast today. It was sprinkling on the way up here. Yeah, this is a pretty cool place. There's the tree house I went up in last time. And this is Mamie and Albert George. Spirit of giving. Mamie and A.P. George, both descendants of early Texas settlers. Mary Elizabeth Mamie Davis, 1877 to 1971. That's the year I was born. And Albert Peyton George, 1873 to 1955, supported and served Richmond and Fort Bend County. After they married in 1896, they decided to move to the old Ryan family homestead and built a folk Victorian cottage completed in 1899 and remodeled in 1911. AP and Mamie manage ranching and farming interest, gaining special notice for developing the Brawhorn cattle breed through generous financial support. The Georges were the driving force behind many community projects. The couple established the George Foundation in 1945 to benefit the people of Fort Bend County. Gonna go check out their house.
This is where Mamie and Albert George lived. They were the fourth generation and the last family that lived here on the ranch. On the sofa here is the house, how it evolved over time. The right side is how the house looked when it was first built in 1899, and the left side is the renovation that happened in 1911. It was built by a famous architect, Nicholas Clayton, who actually was known to have built the Bishop's Palace in Galveston. So they did have connections. 85% of the items that you see here in the house are original pieces. That includes the fixtures, and the wallpaper has been redone to resemble 1938. This room is called the parlor, so that they would entertain all their guests in here. They would serve cookies, tea, and Mamie and Mary Jones were known to play the baby grand piano for everyone who came by. There are some similarities to the Victorian mansion, if y'all went to see it. The pocket doors are similar, and the carving on the crown molding, along with the curvature wall inside the dining room. And looking at the table setting, all these pieces are original, except for some of the flatware and the candle holders. The Tabasco sauce is original. That is one of his favorite condiments that he put on everything he ate. You'll also notice that this is the only house with electricity, and the reason why is because the family found oil on the property in 1923, and then again in 1931, so they made a huge fortune from it, and they were able to afford to put electricity in their house by 1927. This chandelier is really unique. It was bought for $135 in Houston, so off Main Street at Woods Electric Co. So back then that was a lot of money. And then the curvature wall is actually an elevator, which they decided to put an elevator in the 1950s to help Albert, because as he aged, he struggled to go up and down the stairs. Unfortunately, he got stuck in it twice, and so he had the master bedroom moved downstairs, which we'll see today. In this foyer is a portrait of Mamie at age 19 when she was engaged to be married to Albert George. So symbolism of this painting: the flower symbolizes purity, the fan symbolizes she's mature enough to get married, and you'll see her hair is up in a bun because this time was still Victorian time period, so women would put their hair up in a bun when they're engaged or married. So they still put that. Through here is the radio room. So in this time, their technology that was just coming out was the radio. And so it's in the corner. It's called a Philco radio. And what's special about it is that it picked up waves overseas, and they were able to listen to any station. President Roosevelt would address the nation on it. He had what is called fireside chats, so people knew what was going on during the war. Everybody had their favorite programs, and popular ones was Superman, Green Lantern, Flash. Those were characters being invented in this time. Down here is a roll around ashtray. It's made for a cruise liner, so it actually rocks back and forth. And Mamie bought that for her husband because he was known to drop his ashes all over the floor. This house is in its exact location it was built in, but before it was built, this is where the cabin and the prairie home were. And they both burned down as she knew about it, so she was trying to prevent him from burning down the house. They also call this room the library, so behind these French doors are built-in bookcases, a feature that Nicholas Clayton put within the home. The first one is Polly Ryan, the grandmother. Over here is Belle, the stepmother. And then on this other side is Judge Davis, the father of Mamie, who was a banker. And then next to the painting is a clock that was given to Mamie and Albert as an engagement present when they got engaged. So, back to the story about the elevator. When Albert was back studying it, he decided to move the elevator here. It used to be a study, and then he converted it into the second master bedroom. Above me is a portrait of Albert George at age 83. The small baby in the picture is the one and only son who actually died at 22 months of infant cholera, so he never got to live here. And then right here is a picture of Mamie's brother, Bud, who eventually died of tuberculosis at age 42, but he was a banker and a rancher. And then over here has the Hollywood bed style that was really popular in that time. On this other side represents the livestock show rodeo in Houston. Back then it was called Fat Stock, and it was called Fat Stock up until 1961. And Albert was one of the founders for the Fat Stock show. He bred animals, and he crossed a Brahmin with a Shorthorn, and he called it Breakhorn. So these two cows here is a breed he created called Breakhorn, and they weigh 3,200 pounds. Wow, which is pretty heavy.
They are fat.
Yeah. This house is very unique. It actually has its plumbing. It's the only house with plumbing, and this is the original bathroom. And when you walk inside, you'll see the light on, and you'll see where they hid their safe during the market crash when all the banks closed. So you can see in the wall there. It belonged to her brother Bud. When he died of tuberculosis, it was converted into Mamie's personal sewing room. So everything you see in here are items she was starting to create or created. She loved to do quilts on the floor. She loved to do rug hooking. And this one is special because it has all the family brands that they owned. I'll talk about two of them. The one in the middle is the grandmother's brand. That's the oldest. And the circle is the last brand created, which is the George Ranch brand. She also liked to do needlepoint, so you'll also see a needlepoint right here. Another thing I want to point out is that every room has a bathroom, which is pretty luxurious for this time. Some people still had outhouses and chamber pots, so this is pretty fancy. The next, you can go through there, and the next room we're about to see is the original master. So they have a bought something someone carved. Another thing I want to point out is the mantle. It's actually brought from the Victorian mansion. So when Mamie was small, her father gifted her a bed set, and this was part of it. And when she got engaged, she brought it here. Once they moved downstairs, because Albert had a hard time going up and down the stairs, this became the guest bedroom. So a famous person who actually came to stay here was Gene Autry. And if y'all don't know who that is, he was very popular. He was the first performer at the rodeo in Houston. He did a lot of Western movies and country singing. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is a popular song he created as well. And you'll also notice there's another bathroom in this here. So this next room is an add-on room to the house. Her cousin came to stay here in 1924. He worked as the head foreman for 20 years on the ranch. His name was Henry Jones. He brought his family. So this is Redonia, who was an artist. She did a lot of paintings of structures like buildings and houses. And this is her depiction of the Jones cabin, and I believe it's watercolor and ink. They also had a daughter. Her name was Mary Jones. This is her also in the picture, and all the little pictures in here or around the house of a baby is her. She was actually Albert and Mamie's favorite after their son had died, and they decided she would be the next heiress to the family fortune. The tree house outside was built for her so she could observe the ranch and what was going on around the ranch when they were training around how to run it. So we're going to go through here, and you'll notice the actual bathroom, and then also mirror, pearls, watch, the nightgown, Philco radio right here. These are all original pieces to Mary Jones. She was actually really smart. She went off to get her education at UT Austin, and that's where she met her husband, James Prowl, which is in this picture. And soon after they got married, he got called to World War II, and she found out she was expecting, so she came back here to live with the family. Unfortunately, one day she went with Albert to Houston, and on the way back home, they were in a car accident, and she lost her life with her baby that was 8 months in her belly. She was the one who was picked to inherit the fortune, so the family had to think quickly, and they created the George Foundation in honor of her and all the family members in the past. So as you drive around town today, you're going to see all these structures named after the family. Those are all gifts from the George Foundation, and they give millions of dollars every year to the community of Fort Bend County. Any questions? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to go downstairs, and then we'll see the cowboy room. Looking around, the longhorns that you see were Albert George's favorite, and when they passed away, he saved their horns. This huge one is 9 feet tip to tip. This is the George Ranch record, 9 feet. Above the back door, those are called javelinas. Those were hunted in Eagle Lake. And then the white-tailed deer were hunted here on the property, with the exception of these two here are called American antelope 3-pronged. Geese flew in from Canada. Ducks were hunted here with the exception of the coastal stoatbird. And then above the gun case is an armadillo basket made by Ernest. These are called pheasants. These were brought here from North Texas because they're not originally from this area. And then right above me is a gift from the King Ranch. They were good friends with them, and Albert and Mamie gifted them $100,000 to stay open during the Depression, and as a thank you, the King Ranch gifted the Golden Eagle. And so we show here with a permit. And it was found wrapped in barbed wire fence. So they did not kill it, it was found. Alright, so we're going to go this way. Watch your step going up. The house starts getting more modern as we go through, and you'll notice the floorings, 1950s. They added Frigidaire in their house, 2 fridges. They stepped it up with ice cream. They eat ice cream every day. Yeah. Through here, they had gotten ideas from the Rice Hotel, and so whenever they saw something new come out, they updated their house. And you can see the dishwasher, stainless steel tops, commercial hood to let the heat out when they're cooking. They had 2 stoves, so the far side is a gas range stove, and the one behind me is a 1953 electric stove. And the reason why it looks like a car is because General Motors and General Electric collaborated when they created it. So that's why it has the dials right there. And then on this other side, you'll see the Electrolux on the floor, that's the vacuum. The first toaster invented is the silver box. The brown one in the middle is a radio. The black one is an intercom. And then you have a hidden away iron and board. So I'm able to close that door if I wanted to. And that's basically it. As you exit through this door, you'll notice the white tower. That's their personal water tower. And then the gray cylinder is a cistern that catches rainwater. And you're welcome to go through the middle door. It's like a pantry outside where they would put their canned goods and butter and milk. So you're able to walk through that middle door.
The water tower, that was the rainwater, or that was from a well?
This is from the rainwater.
Oh, William.
They do have well towers.
Okay.
They would use all the
Yeah.
But you're welcome to walk through that door.
Did you see the egg field?
Oh yes, that's to weigh the eggs when they're baking.
I'm not sure if you can go in here or not. I guess you can. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. She said Gene Autry spent the night there in that one bedroom that I was in. Pretty cool. So it is currently 3:16 right now, so it's about a 16-minute tour, 15, 16 minutes, give or take. This is a big old tree right here. There's a little church. Oh, look at this huge branch right here. They got this old tractor sitting out here. Quite windy today. So I took the tour a couple of weeks ago. I just walked it, but if you don't want to walk, you can take the tram. It stops here. There's the horse I saw last time. Hey, buddy. What's cooking? You just chilling? You got a friend over there? What's up? The sign says I can't pet you. I can even feed you. Oh, you want to get up close and personal, don't you? I would pet you, but the sign says I can't. Alright. See you later. No horsing around. Yeah, it's a pretty cool place. I'll definitely be back again at some point. I think I've seen online that they do like a haunted trail or haunted tour during October. So I'm gonna have to check that out. Well, that was pretty interesting. Like I said, I'll put the other video in my description below when I came here a couple of weeks ago to take the tour, if you want to check that out. Alright, well that's going to do it for my video for today. As always, thank you for watching. Be safe, be kind, stay caffeinated.